سيد الأولين والآخرين محمد
منزل الكتاب ومجري السحاب وهازم الأحزاب. الحمد لله على نعمه التي لا تعد ولا تحصى، حمدا كثيرا مباركا كما ينبغي لجلال وجهه وعظيم سلطانه. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد، يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. وأشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله وصفوته وخيرته من خلقه، أرسله ربه بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على هذا النبي وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين، واجعلنا منهم ومعهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى، وخير الهدي هدي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. And my dear brothers and sisters, inshallah, in these few minutes I would like to remind myself and all of you of a very basic concept in our deen. We have to remind ourselves, even with the most basic teachings and most basic concepts of our deen, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Keep reminding, and reminders inshallah will be helpful and useful for the believers. My dear brothers and sisters, the concept today we're talking about is the concept of responsibility, the concept of reform, the concept of islah, or the action to reform and to fix and to address the problems of society and the problems of the whole humanity, with the feeling that we are doing this to fulfill an obligation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know that one of the worst and most deadly diseases of the ummah is the same disease that afflicted some of the people that came before us, that they gave up and abandoned the responsibility to perform this islah, or the term that we are probably more familiar with, to do al-amr bil-ma'ruf wa nahy 'an al-munkar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give us this message, this great divine gift, so that we just keep it for ourselves and fix our heart and fix our soul and pray and fast and so on. These are essentials of our deen. The purification of the soul, the prayer, the fasting, these are essentials of the deen. Going for Hajj and Umrah and to always remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you know, if we stop there, then we have not fulfilled the requirement that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in order to become khayr ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas. If we go back to the creation of our father Adam alayhi salam, what was the title that Adam alayhi salam was given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When Allah said to the angels, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. He did not say, I'm just putting someone on the earth just to pray to me and fast. He says Khalifa. Khalifa is someone who is in charge, someone who is responsible, someone who is taking or given the custody of this planet that we live on in order to fix it and to establish it according to the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah created us from this earth and He asked us to establish it according to His teachings. Sayyidina Salih alayhi salam reminded his people by saying, هُوَ الَّذِي أَنْشَأَكُمْ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ وَاسْتَعْمَرَكُمْ فِيهَا. It is Allah that created you from this earth and He asked you to establish it, استعمركم فيها, to establish it according to His teachings. So my dear brothers and sisters, Iman by itself does not qualify us as خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ, and He mentioned three qualities. تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, you enjoin and you enforce and you establish that which is good according to the teachings of Allah. وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and you purify and prevent and stop any evil from going on this earth, also according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to be evil or munkar. And then the third quality is وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. Of course, Iman was mentioned at the end, because without the first two, Iman by itself becomes, just not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has expected from us. And when I referred earlier to the people before us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran about a group of Bani Israel. He says, لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلِ لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ عَلَى لِسَانِ دَاوُودَ وَعِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمَ, that they were cursed, and لُعِنَ means they were expelled from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, living without the mercy of Allah, wondering why nothing is working, wondering why the situation is not improving, wondering why their dua is not being responded to or answered. But then the answer is, why did that happen? ذَلِكَ بِمَا عَصَوْا وَكَانُوا يَعْتَدُونَ. They were disobedient and they were transgressors. عصيان واعتداء, disobedience and transgression. And then the next ayah explains, what is this all about? كانوا لا يتناهون عن منكر فعلوه لبئس ما كانوا يفعلون. They did not used to stop one another and prevent one another from committing munkar, from committing evil. The Mufassirin say that a person would see his brother or his relative or his friend committing a major sin in the morning. He doesn't say anything to that person who is sinful, and then at the end of the day or at night they would be sitting together having a good time and having dinner or whatever. That is the passive attitude that if it becomes prevalent in the ummah, if it becomes a phenomenon in the whole ummah, then wal'iyadu billah, that is a cause of al-la'na to descend upon the people who do this, who relinquish or who abandon al-amr bil-ma'ruf wa nahy 'anil munkar. So it's really a serious business. It's not just a luxury. Oh, I'm going to fix my heart and I'm going to pray and fast and everything, and I'll go make umrah and hajj, and I'll just keep it to myself, and then I don't care what's happening outside. The Prophet ﷺ says, an attitude like that, it is like having no iman whatsoever. It's serious. Why? Because in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, مَنْ رَأَ مِنْكُمْ مُنْكَرًا فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ. If you see something wrong, you fix it with your hand. Meaning, if you have the authority and you have the ability and the liberty and the freedom, go ahead and fix the munkar. Something bad happening in your own area of influence, or in your own house or your own business, you fix it. Don't wait for anybody to come and fix it for you. فَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ. Let's say you don't have the authority. You find something munkar being committed in society, but you are not in a position of authority to change it, then what you do? فَبِالْإِسْلَامِ. Then you talk about it. You try to stop it by admonishing, by teaching, by explaining why this is bad. And try to talk to the people in charge to change the munkar. If you cannot, which is a situation like, okay, you live in a very oppressive place that anyone who speaks up is jailed or killed or whatever, and then you feel you don't have enough courage to go and speak up for whatever reason, then فَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ. At least you reject it and you resent it in your own heart. You just hate the fact that there is so much oppression and munkar and disintegration in society. The interesting comment of the Prophet ﷺ, and very revealing comment that he made, and he said, وَلَيْسَ وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ مِثْقَالِ وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ, in one version of the hadith, and that is the weakest act of belief, of faith, is to reject the munkar in your heart. In another version of the hadith, he said, وَلَيْسَ وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ مِثْقَالِ حَبَّةٍ مِنْ خَرْدَلٍ مِنْ إِيمَانٍ, أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, that beyond that, beyond the feeling of rejection of the munkar, there is no iman. There's not even a mustard seed's weight of iman. And the Prophet ﷺ did not say وَلَيْسَ وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ مِثْقَالِ ذَرَّةٍ مِنْ عَمَلٍ, or he says that what this is وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْعَمَلِ. This is not just action, this is faith. He who does not reject the munkar is in a very, very dangerous and risky situation, that he actually might lose his faith altogether. Might not be even considered to be, may have nothing to say before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to defend himself. What would we say before Allah? That, if we did not at least reject and resent the munkar that is happening around us or anywhere in the world, what would we say before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We say we did not care? Our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in one hadith, or is reported to have said in one hadith, that whoever does not care about the affairs of Muslims is not one of them. So how are we going to answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment? وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ أَوْ وَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ وَلَيْسَ وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ مِثْقَالِ حَبَّةٍ مِنْ خَرْدَلٍ مِنْ إِيمَانٍ, أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. When you look at the messages of the prophets that came before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, always there is a component which is the basic component and the common component for all of the risalat, for all the messages that came before Islam or before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is the message of Tawheed. Always there is Abdullah ma lakum min ilahin ghayr. There is, worship Allah alone, do not associate partners with Him. But did it stop there? Of course it did not, because every prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that also commanded his people to stop doing something bad in their life. Sayyidina Hud alayhi salam was sent with the message of Tawheed, and was sent to stop people from transgression and from aggression against their neighbors, and being too proud of their power and attacking others and so on. Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salam, for example, also came with Tawheed and with reform of the financial transactions and the buying and selling, that stopped them from cheating, stopped them from attacking the caravans, etc. Go back and read all these stories. Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam came with the Tawheed and to stop the moral decay and the homosexuality that was taking place in his society, and so on and so forth. And so did Sayyidina al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When he was trying to summarize what this deen is all about, he said, ad-din al-nasiha. Meaning, deen is nasiha. Nasiha has the simple translation of advice, or to do the best towards something or somebody. That is nasiha. So they asked him, nasiha to whom? The Prophet ﷺ said, لله, which means of course to worship Him and love Him and obey His command. وَلِرَسُولِهِ means to love Him more than anything in our lives and to follow His sunnah. وَلِكِتَابِهِ to His book, meaning to believe in the book of Allah and follow it. وَلِأَئِمَّةِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, so the leaders of the Muslims, to give them advice and to try to put them on the straight path. وَعَامَّتِهِمْ, and the general public, to try to reform and fix anything that you see that is wrong in society. This is the sense of responsibility. A Muslim always thinks, what do I have? What is around me that I can fix? What is around me that I can make better? What is around me? What is happening? What is wrong that is happening around me that I can try to stop it? Always have this attitude, because passive attitude can be a basis for punishment. The Prophet ﷺ tells us about one village that Allah sent the angels to destroy, and the angels went back to him, say, Ya Allah, that of course all the people there were bad and doing some evil things and wrongdoings, and then he said, but there is one man who is there sitting in his own home just worshiping you. And the answer is, bihi fabda, go and start with that man, because he is the one who he is most accountable before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he did not even reject what's going on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew what was in this man's heart. It wasn't a matter that she was like speaking up and not able to do something. No, he was completely passive. He did not care. And said, فَبِهِ فَبْدَأ, start with this man. So it's a great sense of responsibility. And the responsibility that we have is really, the results of our work are basically none of our business. What does that mean? وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ. Say, do the good, action. فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ. Allah will see and He will judge your action, not the results of your action. We always want to achieve good results, but what if we can't? Then it's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will still reward us for our intention and our action. فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَسَتُرَدُّونَ إِلَىٰ عَالِمِ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ. In the end you will come and stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He will tell you about what you were doing, whether He accepted it or not. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our deeds, inshallah, in His cause. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Brothers and sisters, when we say the action itself is what we are responsible for and not the results, this is not just coming from nowhere. This is coming from the teachings of the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. The hadith, which is so beautiful in illustrating or explaining this point, is where the Prophet ﷺ says, إِذَا كَانَ فِي يَدِ أَحَدِكُمْ فَسِيلًا. Just imagine this. You have a small plant in your hand, shatla or fasila or something that, a small plant, a small tree that you put in the ground, you dig a hole, you put it and you water it and so on, and you expect it to grow. Right? إِذَا كَانَ فِي يَدِ أَحَدِكُمْ فَسِيلًا. And then the end of the world is coming. إِذَا قَامَتِ السَّاعَةِ. So if the hour is coming, meaning the whole world is coming to an end. وَفِي يَدِ أَحَدِكُمْ فَسِيلًا. And if you have this fasila or this small plant in your hand, فَإِنِ اسْتَطَاعَ أَلَّا تَقُومَ حَتَّى يَغْرِسَهَا فَلْيَفْعَلْ أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. If you still have even a few moments to put this fasila in the ground and to cover it with mud and to water it, do it. Even if you know that the world is coming to an end. What does that mean? How long does a tree take to grow? A year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years to become productive? It depends on what kind of tree it is. But it doesn't matter. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you, this is the part you are responsible for. Is to put the fasila in, or to put the plant in the ground. That is your responsibility. Is anyone going to benefit from it? Not in this life, no. Not even yourself, not your children, nobody. Because the hour is coming, but you still... So can you imagine someone having the attitude of, you know what, I'm just visiting here. I'm going to be here for a year or two and then I'm leaving, going somewhere. I don't have to worry about the situation. How come? This is not the attitude of a Muslim. This is not the attitude of a believer. This is like the iman that is asleep or, under anesthesia or something, like almost dead. But the actual iman is the iman that tells you and motivates you to act. This is the true iman. So, in order to be practical, what does that mean for me? For any of us? How do I choose what to do and where to focus? And I would like to put this in like there are two main factors here. What is most important at any given time to address? And what is it that I like to do or I can do? What is in my ability? What talent has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given me to use in al-amr bil-ma'ruf wa nahy 'anil munkar? So for example, what is most important now? You look around in the world and there is so much injustice. So yes, injustice is one very, very important priority. Whatever I can do to fix the injustice, whether of, around me here in town or in the country, where you still have people stopped on the street and searched and even killed sometimes for doing nothing. There's so much injustice in this country that we live in. I was listening once to the radio, and a mother was saying, an African American mother saying, among the skills that I have to teach my child is how to get arrested without getting killed. How to behave if he is stopped by a police officer, most likely for doing nothing, just walking on the street or driving or just being there. And how to be arrested, how to behave so that you don't get killed. Can you imagine living with this kind of mindset, or with this kind of fear? Just because of who I am, because I happen to be black or African American or a person of color or whatever you call it, I do not have to feel this, I do not have to suffer this. This is something grossly wrong. And it can also be something happening thousands of miles away. I'm not saying, some people would say, oh, let's worry about just, our society and our community and our country, and let's forget about what's happening overseas or something like that. Says who? Where are we getting this from? Where are we getting this understanding from? Where is our obligation to the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Where is the obligation of that this ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought up for this humanity in order to save humanity. So even as I live here in New Jersey, I am worried about what is happening in Sierra Leone or in Egypt or in Bosnia or wherever, because I want to help my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters be free and be educated and be empowered and be, well-to-do and living, so that the civilization, the Islamic civilization will come back. This is my obligation to the Ummah. I cannot claim, again I remind you of this hadith, that he who does not care about the affairs of Muslims is not one of them. So how can we claim to be Muslim and we say, oh, I don't care about the people suffering in Egypt because I live here. Or, you know, what's happening with this, you know, the spread of the missionaries converting Muslims in Indonesia, or converting Muslims in Sierra Leone, or, you know, and so on. And why do I have to care? I'm living here, I should focus here. No, that is wrong. And then, of course, you have the duty to all humanity, even, you know, anybody who, regardless of religion. I have to worry about the people in South America, the tribes who are being, for example, driven away from their homes, or from their habitat because, you know, some company wants to expand there. There is a munkar. There is a munkar, and I have to worry about, and I have to speak up. So what is important is what is affecting the basic maqasid of our Sharia, the basic objectives, to have the freedom of worship, to have the safety, to have the food to eat, to have the access to education. And also what is important is, of course, what is related to our ummah, regardless where it is. And then, of course, anything that has to do with anybody, any humanity, or even the environment, the animals, and so on. I did not mention a story of or an example from Awqaf. You know, that people used to live back in the you know, the high days of the civilization of Muslims, and when people used to live part of their wealth, because everything else was taken care of and people were living excellent lives, they used to leave part of their wealth to feed the stray cats and dogs, because they feel responsibility to the animals as well. That is how we should feel, my brothers and sisters. We can spend, and then, you know, you look at it from, what is it that I can do best? Maybe I'm a person who is not like a public figure. I can't give lectures or durus or something, but maybe I'm an excellent writer, so I should write and send my, you know, maybe send my writing to newspapers and so on. Maybe I'm a person who's extremely busy with my business, but alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me wealth. Then I should use this wealth and donate generously to all these, you know, try to be like Uthman ibn Affan, or Abdurrahman ibn Auf, or Zubayr ibn al-Awam, or any of these notable Sahaba, and Abdallah ibn al-Mubarak, and these people who were so generous. Of course, at the same time, they were also mujahideen and scholars and everything. But at least, you know, I know what I can do best, and I should do it. Maybe I'm good at organizing and helping organizations, helping relief, helping educational organizations. I should do that. Because, you know, come to think of it, you know, even if you are not, you know, like thinking about how dangerous it is not to participate and so, but wouldn't it be smart, just, you know, to end with this, wouldn't it be smart to actually do something good that affects people outside yourself? Of course, you know, you're living only what? How long are we living? 60, 70 years, 50 years, 80 years, 100 years? It doesn't matter. Then we're going to die. But if you have done something that remains to generate, you know, thawab for you, then as if you're living for thousands and thousands of years. Collecting hasanat, collecting sadaqah jariyah, collecting ilm or ilm that you leave knowledge and so on and so forth, and you benefit from. You can spend your whole life praying and you get the thawab for it, inshallah, but maybe one action, maybe donating for an institution in Africa that actually digs water wells for people there who are poor. Or donating to an institution, which, by the way, we are talking about a specific institution here. It's an institution that teaches and graduates teachers to help people in Africa, in West Africa in particular, to understand their deen, to understand that, you know, that there is to do da'wah and to make them to educate people, very basic things. And I think Sheikh Muhammad, inshallah, is going to talk to us about it, so that we hopefully, inshallah, could be able to help. But this is this is what I'm talking about. That we do small things sometimes that impact the lives of many people. Sometimes, you know, inshallah, all of us will be in that situation. We get on the day of judgment and you stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you think you haven't done much in your life, but you will find mountains and mountains of hasanat. Where did these come from? Inshallah, all of us, say Ameen, inshallah all of us will find this pleasant surprise. That you come before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what you find are mountains and mountains of good deeds that you had no idea that were in your account. Because you helped establish a masjid, or you helped educate somebody, or you helped dig a well, or provide people with tools to plant crops, or whatever the situation may be. Anything you can do, you have to always think, this is a mindset. What is it that I can do? What is it that I can fix? What evil can I stop? What good can I propagate and spread? And this, inshallah, is the mindset and the attitude of a believer, inshallah. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. This is the qualification that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given, or this is the responsibility that He has given us in order to become خير أمة أخرجت للناس. Otherwise, والعياذ بالله, the other aspect, or the other side of being completely passive and do not care, then والعياذ بالله, this is ground for being punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وتجاوز عن سيئاتنا برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها انت خير من زكاها انت وليها ومولاها. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الاحياء منهم والاموات انك يا ربنا سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر عبادك المسلمين المجاهدين في سبيلك في كل مكان. اللهم يا ربنا أتم النصر على أهل غزة يا رب العالمين. اللهم أتم النصر عليهم وانصرهم على عدوك وعدوهم يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم انصر عبادك المجاهدين في جميع بقاع الأرض يا رب العالمين. اللهم وحقق الكرامة والعزة لأمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وأبرم لها أمر رشد يعز فيه أهل طاعتك ويذل فيه أهل معصيتك، ويؤمر فيه بالمعروف وينهى فيه عن المنكر برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.